What's up, everyone? First off, I want to thank you for clicking on this video, taking the time out of your day to watch this video. I truly appreciate it. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about what I eat in a day to gain muscle mass, and I'm going to be giving a sample day menu as well, which will outline one day of eating and what that may look like for me. Without further ado, let's begin. All right, two caveats real quick. One, I do have some notes in front of me, so if I'm looking down, I'm just looking at my notes. And two, I'm not a professional by any means, so when you go to make your own nutrition plan or fitness plan, please consult a professional before you begin. All right, now let's talk about some of the essentials for muscle building, right? This video will of course focus on the diet aspect, but I do want to just put the other aspects out there to make it clear what needs to be done to put on muscle. So on the diet side, a caloric surplus of 200 to 500 calories is needed if we want to maximize muscle gain. There are ways to put on muscle while eating at maintenance, etc., but that's not the most efficient way to do it, and we're going to be focusing on the most efficient, fastest way to do it. So a caloric surplus of 200 to 500 calories. If that doesn't make sense yet, don't worry. When I go over the sample meal plan, I'll be talking about what a surplus is, how to calculate the surplus you need, etc., etc. Next, progressive overload. All this really means is that we should be improving in our workouts. So if we lifted 100 pounds today, in our next workout, we should be aiming for 105 pounds, or we should be aiming for more intensity, or something, improving in some form, workout to workout. This is very important for building muscle. Next, rest and recovery. Probably one of the most underrated aspects of building muscle, and something I ignored for a very long time. Sleeping enough, especially, is integral to building muscle and losing fat. So sleep, I would say, is one of the most underrated ones, and just in general as well, listening to your body, resting and recovering as needed. All right, so now let's start to go into the sample and talk about how I would make a bulking plan for myself. Firstly, we need to calculate the TDEE. That's just a fancy acronym for saying we need to know roughly how many calories we burn in a day. I get an estimate of this by taking my body weight and multiplying that by 15. So right now I weigh about 164 pounds. So I would take 164, multiply that by 15, and I would get 2,460. This is roughly the amount of calories I'm burning without, doing any sort of super intense exercise throughout the day. Just, in my day-to-day, I'm burning about that much. Now what I want to do is I want to add a surplus to this, right? So I'm going to add a surplus of about 300 because that's how aggressive I want to be with my bulk. I've done bulks, with up to 500 calories, and that's like a more aggressive one. But for now, let's just say I add 300 calories. So now my surplus, which is basically more calories I'm eating than I am burning, right? So I was burning about 2,460. I've added 300 to that. That is the surplus. And I come to the total of 2,760. That's how many calories I'll be eating in a day for my bulk. Next, let's talk about macronutrients. All these is carbs, fat, and protein, right? I am very flexible with my carbs and fat. So they fluctuate throughout the day. I don't really calculate them too closely, but I make sure I get 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. What that means is, I'm 164 pounds. This means I'll be eating about 164 grams of protein throughout the day. So what would a day of eating look like for me, right? Well, firstly, we'll start off with breakfast. So I will have 2 large eggs, 200 grams of egg whites, about 30 grams of cheese, mix that all up, make an omelet of it. And, in that omelet, to cook it on the frying pan, I will use 1 tablespoon of olive oil. And I will also have 2 pieces of toast. To add all those calories up, that will come out to about 624 calories, 34 grams of carbs, 33 grams of fat, and 47 grams of protein. And I will add these numbers somewhere, in this video, so it's easier to follow along. So yeah, maybe over here, maybe over here. I'll figure that out in editing, but I will make sure this is easy to follow along. All right, so after this breakfast, I may hit the gym, get a workout in, and after the gym, I'm going to be having my post-workout shake, right? Now, the calories and macronutrients of this will fluctuate depending on which protein you're using. I use a vegan protein. The reason I'm a little bit lactose intolerant, so throughout the day, I've already had the cheese in the morning. About that much my body can handle, but there's a certain limit after which my body can't really handle lactose. So I don't use whey protein. I use vegan protein. I'll have 2 scoops of that, which will total to about 200 calories, 2 grams of carbs, 3.6 grams of fat, and 40 grams of protein, right? So I've had this shake, then I may go do a work or go do some other activity, and soon enough it'll be time for lunch. For lunch, I may have something like this. I have hard shell tacos, so 2 shells. Vegan shredded cheese, so this time I'm using vegan cheese because of the lactose thing. About zero point 0.2 cups of that. Lean ground beef, about 250 grams of that. And 1 tablespoon of olive oil. Adding all the calories and macros for this comes out to 829 calories, 19 grams of carbs, 58 grams of fat, and 51 grams of protein, right? And then after I've had lunch, I may go do some more work or relax for a little bit, but throughout the day I'll be having snacks here and there, right? So for snacks, I've added the following: 2 bananas and 60 grams of almonds. This will come out to 534 calories, 54 grams of carbs, 30 grams of fat, and 13 grams of protein, right? Now after, I've had my snacks throughout the day, go do some more work, chill, whatever, and soon enough, it's time for dinner. For dinner, what I'll have is, and one caveat about my dinner, I do love breakfast food, so, often for dinner, I may have eggs again, I may have oats again, or even for lunch, sometimes I'll have breakfast food. So I'm a big breakfast food fan, and that's what you'll see over here. So for dinner, I'll have 90 grams of oats, 2 tablespoons of peanut butter, and 21 grams of honey to add a little bit of a sweet taste. And that'll come out to 590 calories, 83 grams of carbs, 22 grams of fat, and 23 grams of protein. Now, we total all this up for the day. We get to about 2,777 calories, which is just a little bit over where I want it to be. 192 grams of carbs, 149 grams of fat, and 175 grams of protein. What you'll probably find is unique compared to other people's diet, who you may watch, other YouTubers, and mine, is my carbs and fat, they're very flexible, right? And again, I just don't worry about them too much. I'm able to tolerate both of them very well. And as long as I'm getting my nutrition from whole foods, I don't concern myself whether I've had too much fat or had too much carbs or had too little fat, too little carbs. And one more caveat here. I will have vegetables throughout the day. Vegetables are fairly low in calories, so especially during a bulk, I don't bother to calculate the calories and macros for them, but you definitely can if you would like. And yeah, that's what a menu would look like throughout the day for me. This is something very sustainable for me. I'm having the tacos, they taste very good. The oatmeal with honey peanut butter, I love it. So this is something that's sustainable for me. Please, play around with this. Again, consult a professional as well and find what works best for you. Next, I'm going to be touching on the fact of cheat meals, right? So I'm going to turn the page, get my other notes. So as far as treats, this is something we need to have in the diet as well to make it sustainable. We have social lives, we want to go out, we want to eat, or sometimes, even if we're by ourselves, we want to have a cookie or have a Pop-Tart or something like this. When I feel the urge for this, I follow the 80-20 principle. What that means is I'll take my total calories throughout the day and I will adjust them so that only 20% of them go to treats and the rest, go to whole foods. So for example, previously I said the calories I'm going to eat on my bulk are 2,760. We multiply that by 20% or 0.2, we get 552 calories. And that's, the calories I'm going to use to maybe have a little treat here and there. So take that and enjoy it. Yeah. And, the next thing I want to touch on here is the fact that as I've moved along my fitness journey, when I was like right at the start, I really needed these treats because my diet was just nowhere near where it is now, right? Like I wasn't eating whole foods throughout the day and things like this. So I needed those treats just for it to be sustainable. But now I've been doing this for a few years now. Now I'm at a point where I genuinely enjoy these whole foods. So these treats and such, I don't really need them and I'm okay without them. I found healthy alternatives that work well for me. And then when I'm going out, with friends or with family, that's when I'll make use of this 80-20 principle. And yeah, that's really all I have for this video. Again, for the foods, I'll put them in the description as well, and I'll throw them on the video, the calories, etc. So it'll be easier to follow along. And other than that, thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll talk to you later. Peace.